Today I want to talk about the best unit in this codex for the points, the Lokhust Destroyer, and it's coming right up.
Necrons!
Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, today we continue our series of videos looking at Necron strategies for the 10th edition codex, and today we're looking at the Necron Lokhust Destroyer. So hit the like button and let's do it. Okay, so first of all, let's have a quick chat about the model itself, because let's be honest, this model is very old. This is one of the 3rd edition Necron models, which I personally grew up with. I started in 3rd edition. I loved this model. I loved green rods. I still do, and I really enjoy playing this particular model. However, I know quite a few of you out there don't like this model. You think it looks really horrible and old school, and you don't like green rods, and I get it. Let's face it, Games Workshop need to update this model. Let's hope they do. Let's hope they don't just discontinue it. This model is an easy model to update. All you have to do is take the new Lokhust Heavy Destroyer and change the gun. Give us a smaller gun on that model. It's really easy to do, Games Workshop. Do it! Now, even though I started playing in 3rd edition, I've actually got some older Necron miniatures in my collection as well. I really love classic miniatures, and I still play them to this day. I've got some of the old Necron destroyers, the Necron Raider destroyers, which are the deck chair Necrons, as they were called. Pretty cool, and I still enjoy using them today. Now, I'm nearly at 30,000 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed yet and you love Necrons, then please do so, because I really appreciate it. It would be lovely to get to that milestone. And of course, if you are already subscribed and you haven't done it yet, then please turn on all notifications so you don't miss an upload. Okay, so let's talk about the Lokhust Destroyer. And the reason why I think it's so good is not because it's the first thing that goes into my army list. It's because it's the last thing. Now, whilst 10th edition list building is easier without having to pay points for war gear, and you just take your units in blocks, you know, it's a block of 5, 10, 20, and that's it. It can be also more difficult to list build because, well, you're very limited in what you can take. In the old days, if you were 15 points over, you just drop a model from a unit and job done. These days you can't do that. You have to drop a whole unit and then find another unit that can do the same job but cheaper. List building can also be more difficult in 10th edition. And more often than not, I have a few points left over after I've built my list. Quite often, it's 30 points. In steps the Lokhust Destroyer, because it's 30 points for 1. Now you can have 1, 2 or 3 in a unit, or a unit of 6. So when you have those points left over, 30 points, 60 points, whatever it may be, it's a good unit to go to. Now we're going to look at the stats of this unit. It isn't the most competitive unit, but I found it a really useful unit. We're going to talk about how we're going to use it. But first, let's have a quick look at the stats. It moves 8 inches, which is actually really useful. Fast moving units is very nice. Toughness 6, 3+ save, 3 wounds, leadership 7, OC 2. Its gun is okay but not amazing. It's lethal hits, which is nice. 24 inches, 3 shots needing 3s. Strength 5, which is its little letdown. Lokhust Destroyers were always strength 6. And I think if they were strength 6, there'd be an auto include. However, yeah, strength 5 just takes the edge off of them. -2 AP and 2 damage, which is very nice. You can re-roll 1s if your opponent's unit is the closest legible unit that you're shooting at. And if they're on an objective, then you can re-roll all hits. Generally a half decent amount of stats, but just not amazing. But it's okay, because the way we're going to use this unit, well, none of those stats is going to make a difference, maybe with the exception of the movement of 8 inches, because that could be quite useful. Now, in terms of the keywords, it is fly, which is a disadvantage for the Locust destroyers because there's quite a few anti-fly guns on the table. But again, the way we're going to use it, it isn't really going to be a problem. Now, I've found there are 4 ways to use single Locust destroyers in your list. The first one is to take 2 single Locust destroyers and deploy them in your deployment zone, ideally behind terrain. This will stop deep strikers coming into that area. You've got some board control, and then when the card comes up to investigate signals, you've got an auto 4 points. Once you've investigated signals, of course, the destroyer is free to move out, maybe shoot its gun, maybe move out onto an objective. Now, personally, I actually prefer to use Scarab Swarms for this job. They are 10 points more, 40 points each. But they've got more wounds, 12 wounds, as opposed to, of course, 3. Because they don't have guns, there's no temptation to move them out and shoot. You're just going to ignore them and leave them behind the terrain. They don't have any OC, so there's again no temptation to go out and score objectives. They're there just to investigate signals and to block your deployment zone from deep strikers. However, if you're struggling for points, the Locust Destroyer can do the job as well. Sometimes I'll take my 2 units of Scarabs and I'll be 10 points over, drop a unit of Scarabs, put a Locust Destroyer in, job done. The second way to use a single Locust Destroyer is to put it on your home objective. Now, I'm not saying abandon your home objective apart from a single Locust Destroyer. I'm saying use it as a backup to other units that are on your home objective. Some armies have the ability to tank shock, battle shock your whole army, in particular Tyranids, and you don't just want to have 1 unit on your objective because if it gets battle shocked you lose the objective, so you want several units, ideally at least 2 on your home objective. So the Locust Destroyer, which hasn't had any implications on the rest of your army because, as I said, we're taking this at the end with the spare 30 points. The rest of the army does what it needs to do. This unit is just a backup unit to have on your home objective. I found it's worked really well this way. Now, the third way to use this is if your home objective is already very secure. Let's say you've got a unit of Wraiths on your home objective, then you don't need the Locust Destroyer there as well. You would then use your Locust Destroyer just to take up some board control. Have it to the side of your home objective behind a piece of terrain just to help prevent any deep strikers from coming in. And the fourth and final way to use it is if you're in the Hypercrypt Legion. The Locust Destroyer takes up a very small footprint. It's a great unit for jumping around the table to help you score secondary or potentially primary objectives. Ideally, you want to jump it behind a piece of terrain so that it's a little bit protected, but sometimes you might have to jump it into the open. Now, it doesn't matter if it dies after it's done so, as long as it's scored some points for you before it dies. Overall, for 30 points, this unit is very versatile. Now, I'd love to know if you've used single Locust Destroyers and how you've got on with them. Let me know with a comment. In the meantime, here are a couple of other Necron strategy videos I think you'll enjoy watching.